Imagine this. You're standing in the midst of a buzzing city square, awash in a sea of faces. Neon signs paint the sky with garish colors, a modern-day aurora, while the rhythmic clatter of footsteps and distant hum of conversation create a symphony of urban life. Despite the relentless pulse of humanity that surrounds you, a sudden chill seeps into your bones, a whisper of solitude that slinks into your thoughts. You realize in that moment, surrounded by throngs of people, you've never felt more alone. This sensation, disarmingly real yet elusive, raises an unsettling paradox. How can we live in an age where connectivity peaks, where every tweet bursts at the seams with life's minute-by-minute updates, where faceless interactions spill into the billions, and yet, the silence of our hearts resounds more than ever before? How is it possible that within walls constructed from binary codes and social networks coiling into every corner of our existence lies a cavity of isolation more profound than ever imagined? Your mind drifts to images within the sterile glow of screens. Friends bask in digital camaraderies. Lovers script romances in pithy text exchanges. Families explore shared moments, suspended in virtual timelines stretching indefinitely. Yet, in the clandestine depths of night, as you lie awake, an undeniable yearning surfaces. It's as if you're shouting into an infinite void, trading echoes with algorithms, yet receiving no true communion in return. Is it the paradox of presence without intimacy that gnaws at the soul, where curated avatars replace genuine connections, and fragmented glimpses impersonate meaningful exchanges? We are governed by terms like connectivity, yet know the isolation that breeds beneath its surface all too well. What lies beneath the facade of endless friend lists, endless faces, endless data amassed in the cloud? What illusion of connection do we perpetuate while we drift through disconnection in our digital wake? The great question lingers, a specter in the recesses of modern civilization. Have we created a world of mirrors where we are forever reflected but never truly seen? Perhaps it is not the cosmos expanding into frigid infinity that isolates us, but rather the implosion of our social frameworks reduced to digital traces that traps us in loneliness unparalleled. As you stand there, the conundrum reverberates, echoing like an unsolvable riddle across the vast expanse of modern human experience. You wonder if this loneliness is inherent or constructed, an inevitable result of society's evolution, or a tragic detour in collective human psychology. What truths lie buried beneath our layers of technology, masked by convenience's comfort? Embrace the electricity stirring within these questions. Let them guide you to uncharted territories, where an unsettling truth may await discovery. Journey beyond the realms of ordinary understanding, where the latent forces shaping our society beckon, promising clarity, or at the very least, open a path towards the answers hidden in plain sight. The pathway is fraught with enigma, yet therein lies the allure of understanding the why of our modern solitude, a mystery as profound and haunting as any ever faced by humankind. Just beyond the outskirts of this existential question lies a deeper solution, a truth anchored in psychological and philosophical roots yet untouched. Prepare yourself to delve into the intricate weave, an introspection that perhaps even society fears to unravel. Turn the gaze inward, now, and venture into the labyrinthine corridors of the mind where echoes of solitude morph into the psyche's abandoned specters. This issue of loneliness, coiled around the heart of society, is rooted deeply in the shadows of human consciousness, an invisible thread woven through the very fabric of our modern existence. But why does it flourish here, in the heart of abundance and hyperconnectivity? To unravel this mystery, we must tread paths carved by the thinkers of our past, whose insights into the human condition resonate with eerie clarity today. Carl Jung, the ever-astute observer of the soul, might suggest that our age is one where the individual, submerged in the collective unconscious, loses touch with their unique essence. We find ourselves awash in a sea of identities, each clamoring for attention. Yet paradoxically, this multitude drowns the voice of the self. As we scroll through digital landscapes, the self becomes a fragmented illusion, a mosaic pieced together by disparate parts, none of which truly encompass our essence. Consequently, we are left estranged, adrift amongst the myriad reflections of unwhom we are expected to be. Friedrich Nietzsche would warn us of the perils of losing sight of our capacity for sincere connection, buried beneath the weight of superficial engagements. In a world where the Übermensch seeks meaning beyond societal norms, we face the quandary of finding purpose within connections that often bear no more substance than the screens through which they are mediated. The philosophical gaps created by these superficial ties serve only to remind us of an existential vacuum, a struggle to reconcile the tangible with the ephemeral. Through the lens of Arthur Schopenhauer, one might perceive this loneliness as a manifestation of the will to live, a force that, in the absence of authentic relationships, turns inward, calcifying into despair. For Schopenhauer, suffering is inescapable, and without the salve of genuine human contact, this suffering magnifies. The perpetual showcase of curated lives further compounds our isolation, forcing us into silent comparative camps, a carnival that reflects idyllic portrayals where reality is life's obdurate stranger. Aldous Huxley paints a world where comfort and ease become the opiates of existence, morphing into prison bars of our own making. In this landscape, emotional and intellectual pain are anesthetized, our minds numbed to deeper inquiries and connections by an endless stream of instant gratification. We stand poised as shadows in Plato's cave, hypnotized by images of reality, left yearning for the touch of the authentic. Jean-Paul Sartre would see this loneliness as an existential testament to the failure of any other to affirm our being. Within Sartre's philosophy, the otherness conditions our understanding of ourselves. Yet in the vastness of the digital age, otherness becomes a commodity, reducing what should be profound bonds into mere interactions, echoing Sartre's age-old proclamation that eat hell is other people, especially when they exist only on the periphery of genuine understanding. And what of Viktor Frankl's wisdom? He reminds us that in our pursuit of happiness at the speed of data transfer, we inevitably lose sight of the very meaning we seek to uncover. Frankl, whose own trials urge us towards meaning despite suffering, might observe our constant search for validation through pixels as a misguided attempt to find significance in the void, our connections ephemeral, subservient to the whim of digital impermanence. In light of these insights, the force that binds modern society to loneliness emerges not as a mere cultural phenomenon, but as a profound psychological and philosophical schism, one where the echoes of our past thinkers reverberate louder than ever. Here, on the precipice of understanding, a question gnaws at the soul. What if this ever-expanding void within is a harbinger of a deeper awakening, urging us towards something grander, something truer than our currently tethered existence? Yet before the awakening can occur, one must navigate the unseen consequences that stem from these deep-seated forces. These shadows, unnoticed and unacknowledged, shape our realities in ways imperceptible until they unravel. Prepare to explore the veiled outcomes of this pervasive loneliness, an exploration that will continue to unravel the intricacies binding us to our modern solitude. The sensation of loneliness, rooted deep within the fabric of modern society, casts shadows darker than at first glance, a creeping ivy of unintended consequences that silently transform both our personal and collective realities. Consider how this solitude, intertwined with human cognition and culture, orchestrates results both profound and unsettling. Beneath the gleaming veneer of connectivity, the unseen repercussions seethe, manifesting in forms as varied as the human experience itself. In our hyper-connected age, cognitive biases insidiously magnify the void we feel. Anchored bias, the tendency to focus too heavily on the first piece of information encountered, burgeons in the limitless streams of social media. Plugged into these platforms, we perceive exaggerated versions of reality. Others' lives are more vibrant, love more genuine, experiences more fulfilling. This distorted montage insidiously confirms that familiar loneliness, whispering insidious nothings of inadequacy and solitude. Then there's the echo chamber effect, where algorithms prioritize content aligning with pre-existing beliefs and interests. It's as if you walk along a path paved with reflections of your thoughts, leading you to believe that your world is broad when, in reality, it's as narrow as it's ever been. These echo chambers foster illusions of companionship, a gathering of voices echoing your own beliefs, yet isolating you further from the broader spectrum of human experience. Delve deeper into our neurological blueprint, where the throb of digital interaction hijacks the brain's pleasure centers. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter of reward, pulsates heavily with each like, comment, or share, crafting an addictive yet hollow intimacy. Over time, this biochemical symphony reprograms our neural pathways, severing ties with authentic, real-world connections. The subtle dread of missing out and the pursuit of constant validation becomes shackles, feeding a profound sense of isolation amidst a cacophony of digital stimuli. Cultural conditioning, subtly wielded through media narratives and societal norms, plays its own hand in propagating loneliness. We are confronted with archetypes of success and happiness that demand fulfillment through external validation, status, beauty, material wealth. In the frantic chase to mold ourselves into these shackles of perfection, we disconnect not only from others, but from our own identities. Sartrean angst magnifies. The roles others play in defining our worth become clearer, yet increasingly empty, leaving behind remnants of isolation. The societal liturgy preaches productivity as penance. Purpose diffuses into busyness, leaving ample room for loneliness to take root. Unlike in idealized days of old, where community woven through face-to-face interaction abated isolation, today's commodified relationships lack the authentic engagement necessary for true companionship. Networks, in irony of their namesake, rarely net true worth or joy. Consider the ripple effects mental health pandemics waft through society, with anxiety and depression leaching into lives compartmentalized by digital walls. This epidemic exploits loneliness, feeding off our vulnerabilities. Physical health, too, suffers. The immune system becomes compromised, stress hormones abound, and the body becomes a veritable host for ailments drawn unnoticed through the fog of isolation. Even work environments, designed with open layouts meant to foster collaboration, engender feelings of exposure rather than cooperation. Employees find themselves in spaces where human interaction lacks warmth, replaced by the utilitarian guise of electronic correspondence. In this sterile professional landscape, colleague rapport diminishes, dissonance supplanting connection. Upon the canvas of society, these unseen consequences ripple outward, transforming communities into clusters where fragmented individuals reside, detached from one another despite physical proximity. We teeter on the brink of a paradoxical consummation, more visible yet less present, more interactive yet less engaged, ever feeling but rarely fulfilled. As the transforming nature of these consequences deepens, an urgency arises, a rallying call forbidding complacency in this trap we've built collectively. The self-imposed isolation invites introspection but also a hunger for breakthrough. Change beckons from the shadows, illuminating a rare promise for those willing to challenge the ways cemented before them and to seek a path towards communion. In the wake of these revelations, is rebellion against this orchestrated loneliness not inevitable? Here lies the sweet possibility, an ascent beyond these unseen consequences, a chance to rewrite our stories, perhaps through means yet undiscovered. Await the emergence of rebellion, where radical shifts whisper of transformation, and the dawn of renewal awaits. Picture this as dawn breaks over the sprawling horizons of a modern city. A handful of daring individuals stand poised, ready to challenge the status quo. They are the harbingers of rebellion, not through force or defiance, but through introspection and reconnection. Their tools are not weapons, but ideas. Their battleground is not a field, but the confines of the human heart and mind. This is the rebellion against the insidious tide of loneliness, a quiet revolution driven by those who dare to rediscover the profound beauty of genuine connection. To break free, one must first subvert the foundational beliefs that have subtly wired themselves into everyday thought. Begin by questioning the barrage of cultural narratives that prescribe happiness. Resist the lure of social media's shimmering mirages. Prioritize authenticity over appearance. Embrace vulnerability, as suggested by thinkers like Brené Brown, who argue that openness to emotional exposure is a crucial step towards deep, meaningful relationships. Allow yourself to be seen in your entirety, embarking on a path where true connection waits without pretense. Consider history's visionaries who dared to transcend their circumstances. Marcus Aurelius spoke profoundly on the importance of inner fortitude and personal reflection, wisdom that remains a cornerstone for those seeking to realign with their true selves. His philosophy illuminates the sovereignty one holds over their own spirit, suggesting that liberation from loneliness begins with an inward journey towards self-understanding and acceptance. Adopt a Stoic mindset, where calm rationality tempers the chaos of emotions stirred by modern distractions. Recognize the fallacy in the ceaseless pursuit of external validation and let go of the specter of constant connectivity. Find solace in solitude, yet distinguish between chosen solitude and enforced isolation. In these moments, cultivate a rich internal landscape where creativity and introspection flourish. Navigate to the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh, who illustrates mindfulness as the bridge between consciousness and being. Practicing mindfulness involves grounding yourself in the present, fostering a focus on the richness of life as it happens, rather than within an ephemeral digital sphere. Mindfulness can heal the fractures that contemporary society introduces, inviting an enriching flow of genuine human interactions. Invoke the concept of community not as an archaic tradition but as a fundamental human need. Break away from transactional interactions, building networks that reflect genuine care, empathy, and support. Reclaim spaces for conversation, for shared experiences that elevate relationships beyond the superficiality that digital realms often endorse. These can take form in shared spaces of interest, crafts, arts, local initiatives, or in intimate gatherings, where dialogue thrives and human stories interlace like a living tapestry. Draw inspiration from those who shunned distractions of modernity to seek purpose beyond material gratification. Viktor Frankl's logotherapy insists on the search for meaning as an antidote to despair, an ideology that finds resonance now more than ever. Look beyond fleeting pleasure and focus on fostering values that transcend immediate gratification, aiming instead for lifelong fulfillment through purpose-driven pursuits. Now envision the Great Reset, an upheaval of personal practice and collective understanding. Live deliberately and mindfully, ensuring your presence is a gift you give fully in moments of shared communion. Venture beyond your boundaries of comfort and explore diverse perspectives that challenge preconceived notions. Engage with literature, art, and philosophy that broadens horizons, nurturing empathy and understanding of the complex human narrative. Let this rebellion be both a comfort and challenge, a promise of self-discovery and renewal that honors the depth of human connection. Equip yourself with the wisdom of ages past and the courage to redefine the narrative of modern solitude. As you undertake this path of defiance and hope, empower yourself with the knowledge that transformation begins not with the collective, but with the solitary spark of an individual willing to seek change. In rekindling the primal fire of true connection, the rebellion begins, unfurling like a banner across the soul of humanity. Emerge wiser, energized, and keenly aware that unfathomable freedom lies in genuine human connection and a reconstructed understanding of the self and the other. The winds of change rustle faintly now, beckoning a brave new world on the horizon, awaiting those ready to seize it with open hearts and resolute spirits. As the rebellion carries on, the ultimate truth lies just within reach, a revelation poised to dissolve ancient shadows of loneliness. Ready yourself for the powerful, final realization, a transformative truth that promises to illuminate paths yet untrodden and depths yet unexplored. As dawn breaks over the revolution you began within, an uprising against loneliness, the horizon whispers of a profound realization, an aperture opening into deeper truths. This is the climax of the journey, a moment where all previous struggles acquire clarity under the gentle, encompassing light of understanding. What emerges is not mere insight, but a revelation that redefines reality, transforming past shadows into guides, past isolation into shared human experience. Imagine a tapestry unwound before you, fibers of choice and consequence, isolation and connection, intricately woven to form the patterns of your existence. As you take a step back, the ultimate truth begins to surface. Loneliness is not a curse of modernity, nor an inevitable byproduct of advancement. It is not fundamentally about the absence of others, but about the absence of self, a disconnection from the essence that makes each of us uniquely human. Viktor Frankl said, When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. The most penetrating revelation is that the battle against loneliness is not fought outwardly but inwardly, through the realization that true connection begins at the junction where self-awareness and self-compassion converge. Here lies the paradox and the key. In the age defined by external connectivity, it is the internal connection to one's values, passions, dreams, and failings that truly binds us to the world. This realization invites an exploration into a shared human symphony, a harmony achieved not by eliminating solitude, but by embracing it as part of a luminous spectrum of connectivity. Infinite connectivity is not the solution, rather, it is the depth of the connection that counts. Loneliness becomes a gentle teacher, guiding us to the realization that meaning is cultivated through depth, not breadth, that the true essence of community is nurtured among those who see and appreciate us fully, beyond avatars and personas. Transformation arises when we understand that each moment of solitude is an opportunity to kindle a more profound self-relationship, paralleled by more profound relationships with others. The realization echoes raw and deeply within you. Loneliness is not an abyss but a beacon that can draw us inward, revealing layers of inner landscapes undiscovered. From here, a choice emerges, the choice to be the author of your narrative, to choose connections that uplift and nurture, to align actions with values, to let love and understanding replace fear and judgment. This freedom, the power of choice, solidifies the foundation upon which truly fulfilling relationships are built. The final truth's words etch themselves into your consciousness with an ethereal clarity. The human experience is woven from both solitude and communion, and within this balanced dance lies the heart of our existence. Each encounter becomes a precious opportunity to either learn from the silence within or revel in the vibrant presence of shared humanity. Envision your future, a path no longer dictated by unseen forces of societal conventions, but by intentional, chosen bonds, not merely the avoidance of loneliness, but an embrace of the fullness of being human, imperfections and all. With this wisdom comes empowerment, a liberating sense of purpose, a resilient connection with both the self and the incredible tableau of lives shared around you. The ultimate truth envelops you like the sunrise, warm, resplendent, and affirming of this most human of journeys. The shadows once cast by loneliness reveal their gold-thread significance, and the light penetrating them changes facet and form. You are not alone amidst the throng. You are alone yet connected, a singular note in the symphony of human expression. With this realization complete, the pathway forth is yours to forge, where each step echoes with empowerment, each breath is shared within a grander connectiveness, and every heartbeat harmonizes with the resounding truth of human kinship. This transformative awakening has power far beyond what was once imagined, the power to inspire, to rebirth, and above all, to connect, wholly and genuinely with the self and with others. In this clearest of lights, past struggles can be reframed, solitude re-envisioned, connection deepened, ushering you beyond the trappings of modern isolation. With courage afire, step into this profound illumination and let it guide you toward an enriched existence, one both unapologetically alone and infinitely together.